I'm Symphony Privet. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Featured. We're kicking things off this time with a story that'll make you smile and giggle. Let's head over to Colorado, where these three nurses have more in common than work. As Rachel Krause explains, it's causing a bit of confusion among their patients.
When you're nurses, your friends are your coworkers.
Working on the hospital floor can bond nursing staff together.
But yeah, it's fun. And we love being nurses, all three of us.
For Rochelle, Renee, and Renelle, that bond started at birth.
Oh yeah. What do you think, Rochelle?
Not as special as they might think, but I think it's great.
Renee and Renelle are twins. Rochelle, the youngest of 6, followed her big sisters from North Dakota.
When we moved to Colorado, she was 13. And that's when she started
I
her
had no
busing
plans of being
career.
with them.
And she was the hardest working busser at the Village Inn, so.
Underage, but that's okay.
Now she's going to get in trouble with Social Security.
That family resemblance, a long-standing cause for confusion for patients.
They think that I'm her and she's been here for 24 hours. And I thought you were going home. Don't you like me anymore? Why aren't you smiling at me and saying hi? So we kind of compared to when we were waitresses up in Silverthorne, having a good time, and worked at the Village Inn. And she would go into the kitchen and walk out or go to get something, and I'd walk out without it, and people would be like, "Where's my iced tea? Where's my pancakes?"
But the call to nursing wasn't immediate for the trio.
She became a nurse, and then she told us we should become nurses. And we both said, okay.
Because she's the boss.
She's the boss. And then Rochelle told me, she said, Renee, you should.
She was a nurse first.
She was a nurse first.
But first me, then you.
And then she said, I think I was just born to be a nurse.
I said that?
Yes. And then I said, okay, you talked me into it. So then I became a nurse at the ripe old age of 50.
All ending up together on the medical surgical unit at Advent Health of Vista.
Well, we love working together, all three of us.
Do you ever get to a point where it's too much time together?
Through the decades, these sisters have supported and cared for patients and for each other.
I think you're the only one who's been a patient here.
Yeah, and I requested not them.
Making the hospital feel like home for more than just their family.
Yeah, so I think this is where we are, and this is where we'll stay.
Oh, I love that. That was Rachel Krause reporting. When a loved one is dealing with a health condition, it can put a strain on the relationship, but a Texas couple is proving love conquers all. Sean Giggy introduces us to a man who says he experienced 2, not 1, but 2, of the best days of his life at a hospital.
They told me they had a kidney for me.
When 61-year-old Tony Cross finally got a new kidney, it was the best day of his life. Until a couple days later, when it became the second best day of his life.
I decided I didn't want to wait any longer.
Tony is diabetic and has been on dialysis for 5 years.
And I want to see what's going on.
And through almost every poke and prod, his fiancée, Cynthia, has been by his side.
She's a strong woman, and she's really been there for me.
Tony and Cynthia planned on getting married at the end of the month. But when he had that kidney transplant here at Texas Health Harris, Fort Worth, Tony changed his mind.
She has sacrificed a lot for me. So, I asked her, I say, do you mind getting married here in the hospital?
We can get married here. But is he going to be in the bed or is he going to be sitting in a chair? All that was running through my mind.
He said he was going to be fine doing it just in a hospital gown. And we're like, that's not going to do. We need to do a fancy ceremony for you guys.
After nurses and staff got wind, they took care of everything. Decorations, cake, even found a minister.
You may now kiss your bride.
For most couples, a hospital is not the ideal venue. But Tony and Cynthia say they wouldn't change a thing.
I was in tears. Tomorrow's not promised, so never put off tomorrow what you can do today.
God has blessed me in more ways than one. I couldn't ask for anything better.
He came to get a new kidney, but gave away all his heart. In Fort Worth, I'm Sean Giggy.
Hey, look at that. He got a new kidney and a wife. We love that. We are wishing them the best in their union. All right, let's head over to Colorado once again to see how a nonprofit is working to create a safe space for its Asian American and Pacific Islander youth. It's a mission that is very personal to its co-founder, as she recalls feeling isolated and not Asian enough, while also not feeling American enough. Courtney Yuen shows us how the nonprofit gives youth the space to be free and feel a strong sense of identity.
Science inspires young minds to explore what's possible. Inside the School of Minds, these girls are getting the opportunity to see themselves in a future STEM career.
I love STEM and science, and so I thought this would be a really good event for me to go to.
15-year-old Lillian Knobloch is also here for another reason.
I wanted to connect with other people that are Asian or mixed Asian like me.
Asian Girls Ignite, or AGI for short, put this event together. The nonprofit creates spaces for Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander girls and gender-expansive youth to show up as their most authentic selves.
When you think about missing an event, you just don't want to. You just want to go to every single one and be as involved as you can.
And when they say things like, I don't want to miss an AGI event, I just explode with joy, and it's a part that I feel like my inner child is healing.
Megan Yen is running an organization she wishes she had as a young girl.
Because growing up, I didn't feel like I was American enough. I didn't feel like I was Asian enough.
Feeling isolated, alone, or like they're not enough is a common silent struggle for many Asian kids and teens.
One heartbreaking statistic I really want to shed light on is that the leading cause of death for AA and HPI youth is suicide. That statistic weighs heavily on my heart because I was almost part of it.
As a child, Megan was relentlessly bullied.
Every single day, my bullies would tell me that I looked weird, that I shouldn't be existing. And for years, hearing this, I slowly started to believe it.
At 13, she reached a breaking point.
I thought the only way to escape this nightmare was to just end it all.
Megan survived her suicide attempt.
And I remember thinking, there must be a reason why I'm still here. That's when I knew that's why I survived. It's the fuel for co-creating Asian Girls Ignite today.
She's inspired by the girls who attend AGI events, like 12-year-old Melody Liu.
Asian Girls Ignite is like a safe space to just be free and just be like, this is me, this is my identity.
It's that kind of confidence Megan shares in a letter she wrote to her 13-year-old self.
I know it feels like things will never get better, but I promise you, there is a life waiting for you that is more beautiful and full of love than you can imagine right now.
She shares her story now to show her students they're powerful and deserving of love exactly as they are.
It doesn't matter what other people have told you. It matters what you believe. And you are worthy.
Megan says mental health and well-being is at the forefront of every program they host for their students. Great story from Courtney Yuen. Now, an Arkansas student is not letting her hearing disability stop her from chasing her dreams. Parker Abels, that is, shows us how the student is making a difference for other kids who are in the same situation as her. Take a look.
Rachel Leonard recently became the Princess of America Teen Heartland, but before that, she had a long journey dealing with hearing loss.
I was born with hearing loss in my left ear, and I didn't get my hearing aids until I was 7 years old.
Rachel is now 14 years old and decided she wanted to make a difference for kids in the same situation as her. So she decided to write a book called The Color of Sound.
My book is basically about what it's like before you get your hearing aids, and for me, I was missing out on so many things. I couldn't hear my mom whispering goodnight to me, or the leaves outside. I actually went to the intermediate school, and there was a little girl, and she had hearing aids, and she was like, oh, I didn't know other people have hearing aids. So my book is really to just let other people know that you're not the only one.
Her grandmother, Helen Burks, will never forget the day Rachel got her hearing aids.
She laughed, and she was running, and she stopped. Sorry. she turned around and she says, Mama, I can hear my footsteps. I can hear the birds sing. And to see that was amazing.
There are over 36 million children in the U.S. dealing with hearing loss. Rachel wants every one of them to know they aren't alone and to get to an audiologist as soon as possible.
I just feel that everyone with hearing loss, their world is definitely gray before they get their hearing aids, and they're just missing out on so much. So I really just hope that if you're struggling with hearing loss, go get it checked out.
And her family is so proud of how far she's come and what she continues to accomplish along the way.
Oh, here is a great update. Rachel is taking her message on the road. She is on a book tour, sharing the color of sound with young readers in her community. That was Parker Abels reporting. Now it is time for a quick break, but don't go too far. Still ahead, some like it cold. We'll tell you why low temperatures won't stop these ladies from taking the plunge. Plus, tiny in size, but big in talent. We meet an artist with a great appreciation for the smaller things in life. And a little bit later, a Texas town's claim to fame is in its name. You don't want to miss this one. We are learning the origins of Ding Dong, Texas. Now, just a few years ago, many folks picked up what ended up being dubbed a pandemic hobby. You know, some folks chose to make sourdough bread, while others leaned a little bit more toward the arts. Now, my pandemic hobby was painting, and fortunately for you guys, I forgot to bring in some of my artwork. Well, let's turn our attention to a woman in Washington now. All that time alone allowed her to focus on the smaller things. Eric Riddle takes us inside her tiny world. Take a look at this.
Miniatures can be just so joyful. They're kind of like toys, and they bring you in like you were a child. When the pandemic hit, we were all home. That's when I discovered that it really was a passion of mine that could hold my interest and light up my brain and allow me to hyper-focus for hours at a time. And then I just sort of shifted into calling myself an artist. A diorama is a model of a scene. More often than not, dioramas are miniature. I work in 1/12 scale, so 1 inch in the miniature world is equal to 1 foot in the life-size world. I like to use dioramas kind of like a theater stage. I like to kind of create a scene and leave space for the imagination. I was born into a family that appreciated dollhouses and miniatures. I'm kind of a perfectionist when it comes to this work. I use everything from a tiny little micro drill. I use a miniature lathe. I do a lot of woodworking, as well as paper crafting. A lot of paint, a lot of painting. Paints of all different kinds. Any miniaturist will tell you that they have at least 25 glues, and I'm no exception there. I started just sharing little bits of what I was doing on Instagram, on social media, and people got interested. A friend of mine came to me and he wanted to do something nice for his neighborhood as a gift for his wife. He said that he had this empty parcel locker in his neighborhood that had been empty for 10 years and hadn't been fixed. So I decided to make a diorama that's an ode to postal workers, featuring Postmaster Wanda, who is an octopus. Kind of a surreal take on a postal worker who is tasked with doing lots of things. I did a lot of research going into this piece, a lot of research. I went down to the post office and I took so many pictures. I don't even know if that was allowed, but I took so many pictures. My friend was telling me how much the neighbors appreciated it, and then we posted the video and it got a big response, which blew me away. Really did not expect that. Probably around 150 to 200 hours of work. Now that I'm moving into doing this professionally, I feel so grateful that this was something that I was able to foster. There really are enough people out there who appreciate it. There's a lot of hidden magic in the world. We can find it if we look for it.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool. That was Eric Riddle reporting. I just know my hands would be so sore if I tried to do the same thing. All right, now this next one, it's quite a bit of a doozy. What's in a name? And when it comes to towns, I've come across some interesting ones like Possum Grape, Arkansas. You're probably wondering, what's a possum grape? I don't know either. Let's head over to Texas now. One town is ringing in outsiders because of its name. Have you ever heard of Ding Dong, Texas? Nah, me neither. Well, Jacob Wallin caught up with locals to learn more about the history behind the name.
Ding Dong, Texas.
That's right. Ding Dong, Texas. Ding Dong is a small, unincorporated community just a few minutes outside of Killeen. Fittingly enough, in Bell County. So, where does a name like Ding Dong come from? Killeen Library Director Deanna Frazee looked through the Bell County history books to find the answer. According to historical accounts, Ding Dong got its name in the early 1930s when Zulus, or Zoilus, depending on who you ask, and his nephew Bert Bell opened up a country store. They needed a sign to promote it, so they hired painter C.C. Hoover. As Hoover was buying materials for the sign in Florence, the owner of the shop reportedly suggested he should paint two big bells on it in honor of the owner's names, and write Ding Dong underneath as a bit of fun.
And they painted bells over it, and it just kind of became Ding Dong because of those bells.
Sadly, that sign is no longer standing.
There used to be a highway sign perhaps, but it kept getting stolen, so they just gave up on it.
But its legacy lives on, especially in the Country Pride Market, where you can even find some Ding Dong merchandise. There isn't too much in Ding Dong.
It's just quiet mostly. People keep to themselves for the most part, and it's just a nice place to live out in the country.
The 2000 census listed Ding Dong's population at just 22 people, including Killeen reference librarian Walter Mochi Gimba.
My family lived out there starting in 1995, and we've had a place that my mom painted a sign that says Ding Dong Dell.
However, Ding Dong is recognized as a community by Bell County, and is even the unofficial home of the Southwest Bell County Volunteer Fire Department, which serves several communities in the area. Ding Dong has become somewhat famous because of its name, both locally and nationwide, and was even featured in Ripley's Believe It or Not.
And there are people who travel to see things like that just because of the name.
Yeah.
All because of a sign and a sense of humor. In Ding Dong, I'm Jacob Wallin.
All right, now this story got us thinking, what other unique towns or cities are out there? So our featured team researched and found some pretty interesting names across the country. Let's go ahead and give you the rundown. First up, why Arizona? Yeah, we're not asking a question. That's the name of the town. Up next, why not North Carolina? Then there is Accident, Maryland. What? And last, but certainly not least, Rough and Ready, California. I like that one. Who knew geography could be so much fun, right? I want to come up with an interesting name. See if we can make that happen. There's still more ahead on Featured. School is in session. We meet a professor who is feeding minds and bellies. Plus, doesn't everybody love Dolly? Hey, look at this young fan. We'll tell you why a trip to Dollywood was an unforgettable one. Welcome back. Let's dive into what's trending today. A debate washed up on social media about laundry habits. Have you ever done something that's, normal to you, but strange to everyone else? Well, that is exactly what happens to a couple in Australia. Here's the rundown. A woman called her boyfriend out on TikTok for throwing the detergent-filled cap in with the clothes. Now, she called his behavior weird, but he was shocked that she didn't do the same. There were plenty of folks who agreed with the boyfriend in the comments. One person wrote, "My cap says toss and wash or rinse after use." But another user took the girlfriend's side, writing, "There's no way. Do you also bake your measuring cup inside your bread?" No. Personally, I don't throw mine in, but as long as the clothes come out clean, that's all that matters. Now, social media, it's made us feel a little bit closer to our favorite celebrities. Back in the 90s, the only time most of us could see them was maybe at a concert or on TV. Well, an 8-year-old boy could not contain his excitement when he saw the Dolly Parton for the first time in person. Take a look at this clip. Y'all heard those screams? Oh my gosh, Owen Ramey and his family, they were on hand for opening day at the singer's Dollywood theme park when the superstar rolled by in a parade. Look at his little face. The country music legend spotted him in the crowd and pointed at him with a big old smile, and that is when little Owen just lost it and started screaming hysterically. His parents caught the moment on video, which quickly went viral, racking up over 6 million views. Now, some big brands chimed in with comments, including Spotify, who wrote, honestly, everyone should be matching his energy. It's Dolly Parton. Come on. I love Miss Dolly. Alrighty, that's it for trending. Here is what's next on Featured. Soup for the Soul. We'll tell you how one lady is healing her community one bowl at a time. Plus, a community is cleaning up their neighborhood to find the beauty in trash. We take a look at their creations straight ahead. For staying with us here on Featured. I'm Symphony Privet, and we are continuing to bring you some uplifting stories from across the country. Have you ever heard of the term plogging? Well, it's a term the Swedes use when picking up litter. There's a lot of that going on in one Pennsylvania community, but it's not going into a recycling bin. As Jeremy Lewin shows us, they are turning trash into art.
They have a cool consignment place. This is from a consignment place in Greenridge, and this is from, I think, actually Salvation Army.
Within minutes of meeting Janine Luby of Scranton, it became clear that she is devoted to living sustainably.
Thrifted all around.
That's awesome. Just like me, she wears secondhand clothing and makes a strong effort to reduce her consumption. Janine was inspired by the popular Swedish practice of plogging, or picking up trash while jogging or walking.
And you've got fresh air, you've got exercise, picking up to help clean the environment.
Janine wanted to do more than just pick up trash. She wanted to give it a new purpose and turn it into something beautiful. So she dreamed up the Restart initiative and was awarded a grant from the county to bring it to life.
So Restart, we toyed around with the idea of reduce, reuse, recycle. So we love that because it gives the idea that you're doing something again. And I wanted to capitalize the S and the T so that the art part would stand out.
She banded together local artists and conducted several cleanups.
We picked up 15 or 16 bags of litter and had about 4 boxes of what we call cool found items that you'll see in the artwork. Crocs, pieces of metal, plaster, you name it, like all kinds of really neat stuff that we're re-envisioning, reimagining what it could be. It's all Restart for litter.
Yeah, we've been working together for almost a year to make sure this project can happen.
Janine partnered with her friend Teresa O'Connor, director of Scranton's AFA Gallery, to secure a space to create and display upcycled artwork.
The workshops are kind of my part of the project. I really love working with the community and doing art installations.
Today, we really wanted to be family friendly, children really focusing on them tapping into their imagination, their creativity, knowing about not wasting and like what can become something else and not have it end up in a landfill. And that's what they're learning today, like making paper out of old paper, receipts.
You guys want to make some paper? Yeah! All right.
Local artist Monica Noel Simon has multiple nature-themed murals all over Northeast Pennsylvania, and she'll be showcasing her artwork in the AFA Gallery too.
I used like tin foil. I picked up mosaic pieces of glass. All kinds of stuff that I turned into a treasure.
We can use things again. We can make something beautiful out of something that somebody would think was trash. There's always something beautiful to be found, always.
Hey, that's pretty cool. That was Jeremy Lewin reporting. Now, a man is traveling across the U.S. to shed light on mental health and recovery from substance abuse. Kendall Ray Edwards started his trek in January of 2022 from his hometown in Jacksonville, Florida, to the Pacific Ocean. Whoa. He then walked up to the most northwestern point of Washington state and down to San Diego, then Back to Florida. That's a lot of walking. Now his goal is to hit all 4 corners of the U.S. Robert De La Garza caught up with Edwards during his stop in East Texas on the 700th day of his journey. Check this out.
Kendall Ray Edwards doesn't travel like anyone else. His destination, the other side of the country. His vehicle, his 2 legs. And he's taken over 1,000 passengers with him.
I want to inspire other people that might be going through something similar, that they can overcome that as well.
It's a journey that's taken 700 days of walking across 7,600 miles, fueled by a lifetime of pain. Edwards is a mental health advocate and recovery coach. He's also 6 years into recovery with 13 felonies and 2 suicide attempts. This walk is his way to show others that you can keep moving forward, taking a step or steps in the right direction.
I do understand that my past does not define me. I'm not proud of all that stuff that I did, but I am proud of who I am today.
You might spot Edwards strolling along the freeway with his buggy sporting the sign "You Matter." He's known online as the Walking Testimony, with over 89,000 followers on social media, where he documents his journey. He's met thousands of people along the way who have shared their stories and the inspiration he's given them.
It shows me just how similar everybody is, no matter where we're from. It shows me that depression and addiction does not discriminate.
But this journey isn't about him. It's for those lost to overdose and suicide. Edwards wants to be a voice for the voiceless.
It means that I'm here for a reason. I know it means that I have a purpose here on this earth, and I know that everybody has a purpose on this earth.
Like the 180 people Edwards fit onto this shirt. These are people who have fought the same fight he did and are no longer with us. There are 10 editions of this shirt, all of them with a different 180 people.
Even though they're no longer with us, they're still being remembered and getting that journey of a lifetime, where the 180 stands for taking a 180-degree turn in the opposite direction from the things that are taking the people that we love and care about.
Mile by mile, for those who have walked a mile in his shoes.
To anybody struggling with any mental health issues, that feels alone, that feels hopeless, I want to let you know I don't have to know you in person to tell you and believe it from the bottom of my heart that I love you and I care about you, and I'm so thankful that you're here today.
That was Robert De La Garza reporting. I love that story. Now, what most college students worry about passing an exam, an alarming number are struggling with a basic yet crucial need, finding their next meal. Mike Bush introduces us to a professor in Missouri who discovered a hidden crisis on campus and took action.
At Webster University, where minds are traditionally filled with knowledge, one professor discovered an emptiness no lecture could address.
Every point that you can go up on the LSAT.
Professor Ann Garrity Rathert teaches legal studies by day, and by night she's busy setting innocent women free.
I represent exclusively people who are in women's prisons.
But between opening law books and prison doors, Ann found herself confronted with an unexpected case while talking to one of her interns.
She said, "Oh, by the way, I meant to ask you the other day, where's the food pantry on campus?" And I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, we don't have a food pantry on campus."
In courtrooms, they call it a moment of truth.
Totally maintain the client file, the communication with the client.
For Ann, it was the moment she realized that for some students, the biggest barrier to education wasn't intellectual, it was nutritional.
That was the moment in which I started first putting food on my bottom shelf in my office, so that whenever she would ask me or anyone would ask me, I'd say, "Take whatever you want."
That impromptu offering soon became a movement.
The sauce here.
With the help of art history professor Terry Riley, they turned Ann's bottom shelf into a small food pantry at Webster Hall.
We didn't really have a sense of the need among students, and we were floored.
Floored by the results of Terry's campus survey.
We ended up with 539 respondents. 50% have run out of food.
That's a lot.
Okay, that's good.
To help stock the shelves, Ann reached out to Operation Food Search, which was already launching a pilot program.
The numbers are around 30% across the country, which is a large number for students, and it hits certain populations harder than others.
Yet many students remain reluctant to seek help, embarrassed by their situation.
It's an issue that we deal with a lot. How do we get over those barriers of embarrassment or shame?
But when hunger outweighs embarrassment, the pantry becomes a lifeline. One international student couldn't afford both tuition and food and explained in a letter to student government how the pantry made a difference.
When times were desperate and I didn't have money to afford anything, I was able to go to the pantry and get food.
So now we're talking about, okay, can we kind of emphasize this more? So in our meetings, can we talk about this more? What can we do? Can we just spread the word?
Now Ann makes regular trips to Operation Food Search.
So just keep a log like of the dates and the times. And
Each journey filling more than just empty shelves.
when I go to Operation Food Search on every other Wednesday morning and load up my vehicle with the food that they're giving us, I feel the weirdest sense of elation. We've got soup.
At Webster University, where students come to expand their minds,
One more. There we go.
Ann, Terry, and their colleagues have quietly added something to the curriculum that won't be found in any course catalog. A lesson in compassion, served one shelf at a time.
Just look at how contagious kindness can be. I love that story from Mike Bush. Moving on to our next story here. A Maryland woman is filling hearts and bellies from her pot of love. Sean Martinelli introduces us to the woman known as Super Sue.
At this Silver Spring, Maryland home, when life's got you down, soup's up.
They call me the soup lady. They call me Super Sue. I'm just Sue.
In Sue Clark's kitchen, you won't find a single can of Campbell's. What's on this stove is a scratch-made pot of love.
When I start with a pot, I think of the person I'm inspired to make it for.
A lot of people make soup. Not many do so for a reason.
It's getting there.
Such as Sue's.
Sharing a little bit of love to a human being who's going through a difficult time.
It all started at the beginning of the COVID pandemic. Sue started giving away soup for any neighbor in need.
And it just kind of exploded from there.
Word spread online and a community formed, from the strangers who donate vegetables to the friends who make deliveries.
And it's brought a lot of people together.
Evelyn and Maria.
Over 5 years, hundreds have become recipients of Sue's soup.
It's honestly been such a blessing.
Her soup is love.
It's such a small thing, but it really makes me feel cared for, and it makes me feel connected to my community.
I mean, it's delicious, but it also comes with that love.
Love that grew in Sue after grief.
People were there for me, and I just want to be there for others.
As a teenager, Sue lost her mother unexpectedly.
Whenever the plumber would come over to fix one of the leaks in our house, she would make him a bowl of soup and sit him down, and they'd have a bowl of soup together. She was a pretty cool human.
Decades later, heartbreak came again.
My husband died very unexpectedly of a heart attack, especially after Steve died. There were so many folks who showed up. It just makes a really big difference. So,
Sue could have dwelled in the darkness. Instead, she lit a flame and carried on.
And it helps a heck of a lot if someone is there to hold your hand. So I just hope to do that for other people.
Pot by pot, Sue's not just making soup, she's healing hearts.
In my own way, in my own little kitchen.
And even if she never meets those she serves,
I think they know the love is in the soup.
Love, it's Sue's most powerful ingredient.
That was Sean Martinelli reporting. It's time for another quick break, but here's what's on the other side of the commercials. Bonded by the cold. Well, they call themselves the Chilly Mermaids. We'll show you how this group of women are building deeper connections in the water. Welcome back. We are introducing you to a group that is getting their feet wet in Connecticut. They call themselves the Chilly Mermaids, and they've become a close-knit community in freezing cold water. Jim Altman has this story.
There's a lot of mental and physical health benefits to swimming in cold water.
This group knows something about going to extremes.
That happens weekly.
We're the Chili Mermaids. Okay. Let's go. It's the best.
A chili mermaid is usually a woman who is really brave and can swim in cold water.
Meet the Chili Mermaids. Clearly they have ice water in their veins. That's unavoidable. And on Rogers Lake in Lyme, a sisterhood has surfaced. Morgan Levine is a founding member.
Usually 3 to 5 times a week we'll swim.
And habitual polar plungers bring a lot of wonder.
We swim in the cold water because we're part of a community of women who like to uplift each other, and all of us have gone through really difficult times in our lives. And as soon as you get into the cold water, nothing is as hard as that.
There are 2 parts to what we do in the water. There's that part of like proving to yourself that you can do hard things. But the other part of it is that we have found this incredible community of women who support each other and lift each other up.
Since they started in 2022, the group has grown to about 24. And if you're keeping score at home, the Chili Mermaids are swimming in 37-degree water today.
Crazy whipping winds. We've done it in snow, so we've broken through ice with hammers and with axes. We've done it in rain. We've done it on beautiful days like this. No weather stops us from coming out.
And in the foreseeable future, it looks like open water ahead.
We are open to having anybody who is bold enough to get in cold water with us, male or female. We usually have women, but we're open to mermen too.
Alrighty, that was Jim Altman reporting. Let's get out of the water now and head to the basketball court in Georgia. Now imagine playing a game for 24 hours. All right, now increase that number by 5 times, that is. Now, you didn't know we'd have you doing a little math today, huh? Karis Belger caught up with a group of players in Georgia to find out why they hit the hardwood for so long.
121 hours of continuous play. It may all seem impossible, but not so for Bruce Deal and the members of his organization, MOST, Men Opposing Sex Trafficking. Players ranging in age from 17 to 64 spent days and nights here at Landmark Christian School, eating and sleeping on the sidelines so they can secure safety for others.
Bruce Deal and the other players managed to raise more than $300,000 to combat sex trafficking, a number Bruce says is a slam dunk.
We'll leave here today, but that issue will still be in society, so we're enthused that we get to be a part of addressing that at least at some level.
A sentiment shared most by the men on the court. Not only did the marathon game raise money to combat sex trafficking, it also set a Guinness World Record.
Now, here's a little fun fact. Each team surpassed 10,000 points during the game. Great work. That was Karis Belger reporting. Now, a college football team in Ohio is making a difference off the field. Check this out. The student athletes are tackling hunger in their community. It's an idea that came to one player as he was scrolling on social media.
There was a pretty big trend on TikTok at the time of influencers going around and filming, handing out meals to the homeless. So one day I approached a buddy of mine, Josiah, and said we should go out there and do something. And I put words into action, asked for volunteers and donations from the football team, and we went down there, fed about 400, 500 guys.
And the giving didn't stop there. The team has organized multiple donation drives, and so far plans to do even more in the future. Great work, guys. Now, you ever opened up a text message from your buddy and you realize you're not familiar with the abbreviation they're using? Don't worry, you are not alone. We are helping you decode some of the top text slang. Will BRB right after this. Welcome back. Now, the older we get, the more out of touch we become with our friends, or trends rather. Your friends too. Now, nothing lets me know that more than sometimes, looking at my phone and getting a text message with letters like AFAIK. Huh? That means, as far as I know. I don't use that one. Now, if you're just as confused as me, Jenny Day has some tips to help us improve our text game. Take a look.
I definitely use FS for sure. We use like LOL a lot.
Definitely WYD, like what you do.
Yes, that's a good one.
TBH.
Oh yeah, RN for right now.
Always changing and hard to understand.
I think it's a little humorous, but I think it's interesting.
Their secretive speech seems like a totally different language, but is saying the same thing. To better understand the cool kids, I headed straight to the source, a college campus. San Diego State students say they abbreviate texts to save time.
A lot easier for me to just type out a few letters rather than like typing out an entire sentence.
But even they admit they don't know all of them.
I've never heard of ISG being it's good. DTM, doing too much, I would not have known that one.
Yeah.
We're not alone. Yeah.
I also asked SDSU's librarian. He, of course, loves words and books and interacting with students, but would not understand their texts.
Doesn't bother me. The English language changes.
I showed him the list of the top text searches from just the last 3 months, put together by the word-finding experts at Unscrambler. The #1 abbreviation Californians wanted to know was PMO, put me on. ICL, I can't lie, came in second.
Nope. I might have gotten TS, talk soon, once.
It is, of course, generational, a way to communicate and be creative, but keeping up with the trends is no easy task.
With my parents, they don't use any abbreviations. They just type everything as it is. They use a lot of punctuation, grammars. Like maybe they're new ones, like what the younger kids, like younger than me, are using.
I have a little brother, and it's very different.
It's so different.
Just 3 years is a lot. Like he's coming home saying things I have no idea what it means.
Alrighty, that was Jenny Day reporting. Now, how many of you would trust a friend to help you find your next lover? No shade to my girlfriends, although this is pretty shady. I'd like to roll the dice on my own terms. I don't know about having them pick out my next guy. Actually, if I'm being real, I'm not picking out a next guy. I'm getting married. Forget I said that. The singles in Texas are flipping the script on modern dating. Roxy Van Rooten shows us how they are putting down their phones and leaning on a friend to find a connection.
Pitch a Friend is bringing back face-to-face dating where your friends can do the matchmaking for you, one presentation at a time.
Thinking like Shark Tank for friends, and it's a fun way to, you know, who doesn't want their bestie hyping them up and being like, this is my friend that you should date.
The idea started in Philadelphia, went viral, and now it's making its mark in the Alamo City. The concept is simple. You grab a mic and pitch your single friend live on stage.
COVID put us behind the screens for a lot longer than, you know, we were wanting, and apps kind of became the norm, and so this is a new way to get people back out.
But there is one thing organizers have noticed. Women seem to be taking the lead in this new dating scene.
You know, we got to get the guys to just be like, hey, I want to be pitched. I'm ready to get out there, and I want to, you know, put myself out there. So I think it's a little bit easier for women to come up, you know, and be like, hey, let's do this event tonight.
Woo! All right, that is an innovative way to find a match. That was Roxy Van Rooten reporting. We need an update on if those couples stay together. Alrighty, that is it for Featured. I hope you found something that made you smile today. Until next time, make it a great one.